Hi, this is David and welcome back. Alright, now we move on to verbs. To work, succeed, achieve, and curb. Each one of these is called a verb. Okay, now most teachers that I come across in Hanoi, they tend to, when I watch them teaching, they tend to just explain to the students that a verb is an action word. Well, of course, they're only 50% correct because a verb is an action word, but it's also a state of being. And we have helping verbs and we have linking verbs. So, to give an example, if we looked at helping verbs, there are 24 helping verbs, and they make up part of a verb phrase. And the 24 helping verbs are be, am, is, are, was, were, being, have, has, had, could, should, would, may, might, must, shall, can, will, do, did, does, having. I'll say that again. There's 24 helping verbs. Be, am, is, are, was, were, being, have, has, had, could, should, would, may, might, must, shall, can, will, do, did, does, having. There's a very simple song. People say, wow, how do you do that? You know, there's 24 helping verbs. How do you remember? Well, it's a simple song. Excuse the voice, but I'm not one of the greatest singers. It goes something like this. Be, am, is, are, was, were, being, have, has, had, could, should, would, may, might, must, shall, can, will, do, did, does, having. So I learn all these songs and I take away the mix and I learn all the verbs. Simple. Okay, so 24 helping verbs. Be, am, is, are, was, were, being, have, has, had, could, should, would, may, might, must, shall, can, will, did, does, having. And then, of course, you have your linking verbs. Appear, become, feel, grow, look, seem, remain, smell, sound, stay, taste, turn. They are your, plus the be verbs. The be verbs also can act as a linking verb or a helping verb. So remember, helping verbs are part of a verb phrase. Linking verbs, they link. It's like an equal sign. I am sad. I equal sad. She is happy. She equals happy. And then, of course, we have our modal verbs. Could, would, should, may, might, must, can, will, shall. So you have your modal verbs. You have your be verbs. Be, am, is, are, was, were, being. They're all part of your linking verbs, and you've got your helping verbs, which make part of a verb phrase. So you will have 3 or 4 words that will become part of a verb phrase. For example, the band had been being played. You can have 3 or 4 verbs right there in the sentence, and they're all part of a verb phrase. So the most important thing I think to remember is that your verbs, yes, they are an action word. John kicked the ball. Kick is the verb. You have your subject and your verb. And I think one of the most important things to remember is that in a sentence, subjects have verbs, verbs have subjects. And who or what is doing the action. Okay, so you got to look at the subject to find the verb in a lot of sentences. And I'll explain that as we go along. Right now, I'm trying to keep it simple. Okay, so to keep it simple, just remember we have action verbs and we have verbs which are a state of being. And that's keeping it really simple. Okay, let's move on to the next video. See you soon.